So DNA is great at identifying who contributed a biological stain. One of the things that DNA can't do is tell you where it came from on the body, whether it came from saliva or blood or different types of tissue. And perhaps even more importantly, it can't tell you when that stain was deposited. Was it deposited a week ago or was it deposited 5 years ago? And these are some of the most pressing and challenging questions facing forensic laboratories right now. So our research is really focused on analyzing all the parts of an evidence sample that are not DNA and finding out what information they can tell you. So the first part is just research and development. Could this technique even work? And then the next stage is usually validating it. And validating usually means testing it against realistic casework samples, cases that simulate what a crime lab would get submitted to them from law enforcement agencies. And so usually these are what we call challenge samples, so samples that are extremely low template, have very low amounts of DNA and/or cells, or samples that have been degraded for a significant amount of time. And these are the hardest to sort of get your technique to work on. But we're at that stage right now with age of evidence and our tissue type identification of actually validating them for casework. I had this assumption in graduate school when I first started here that, if you do good science, people will find it. So I'm going to publish papers, and then someone combing the literature will say, this is great, I want to use this in my lab. And yeah, that's not true. I gave conference presentations for probably a decade, and I published all these papers, and no one knew about the technology or the capabilities. Really commercializing a technology is such a good and effective way of getting the technology out to people that can use it. Innovation Gateway recognized validating this for court was a critical component of commercializing the technology. And so they were really great in supplying not just financial resources to actually do the validation study, but also connecting me with members of the forensic community that I never would have met before to get feedback on the technology. But if there's a commercial product, there's a company that's done the research and development, that makes it much easier for them to explore and adopt and integrate within. And so, because it's gone through those rigors, when you commercialize a technology, that means that in this case, it's been court validated. It really bridges that gap between what happens in an academic research and practitioners or end users of the technology that I should have known and I just didn't. So it's been a huge, huge help in that.